The Barricade Extreme HD front bumper is perfect for your 2020 to 2023 Silverado 2500 or 3500 if you want more protection, more style, and more ground clearance. Not only does this look really sinister on the front end of these trucks, but it's a lot more tough than your original bumper, and this one has some additional lighting included. And all of that is made better by its comparatively low price point. Now there's a lot to discuss here, but let's start with the styling. This is a full width bumper, so it's going to run the entire width of the front end of your truck, and it gives the whole thing an even more aggressive look. Whereas a lot of aftermarket bumpers stand out and look like a modification, this one genuinely matches up very well with the tall, square-jawed appearance of these HD Silverados, and it makes this almost look like it could have been a factory option. However, this goes far beyond a factory bumper. It cuts up higher on either side, and it sits higher in the center than your original too. This is going to give your truck more overall ground clearance and a better approach angle. So if you do find yourself off-road, this is more likely to clear an obstacle than your original bumper. And since this is Barricade's Extreme HD, it's going to give you a lot of additional protection should it not clear that obstacle. And we'll dive into the construction momentarily, but suffice it to say, this thing knows how to take a hit. So whether you're in a parking lot or busting down the trail, know that your bumper will hold up to pretty much anything. Now this particular one also includes a pair of cube-style LED fog lights. So if you're out late at night or in adverse conditions, you're going to have plenty of visibility. And if your truck did come with fog lights originally, well, you won't lose any functionality, and these are likely going to outperform your factory original. You also get provisions in the bumper for your front parking sensors, so these can be ported over very easily. And Barricade offers a matching rear bumper for this as well, so if you'd like a complete setup, we've got that available on our site too. The construction here really speaks to that heavy-duty part of the name. Comprised entirely of 5/32 inch thick steel plating, this is very tough. The steel is cold formed into its final shape. That means the material hasn't been heated and subsequently weakened. Cold forming helps maintain the structural rigidity of the steel. It's then capped off with a two-stage finish. The first layer is an epoxy pre-coating, which is then covered up by the textured black powder coat you see here before you. So it's going to provide excellent corrosion resistance, and it's going to be able to stand up to pretty much anything you can throw at it. All of the bracketry is made from the same materials and finished in the same coating as well, so everything will be well matched and very sturdy. Those fog lights we were talking about earlier, well, these are 3-inch cube style lights powered by 5-watt Cree LEDs, and they provide a 6000K temperature light. So safe to say, yet again, these are very bright. Each individual light has an aluminum housing, and it's covered by a clear polycarbonate lens. And these are IP67 waterproof rated, so they're going to be just as strong and durable as the bumper. They even come with a full wiring harness, making the install of these pretty much a plug and play job, even if you don't have fog lights from the factory. You've got a relay, you've got a switch, and factory style connectors already included in here. You basically just need to wire power and ground for them, and that's as easy as connecting them up to the battery. But we'll talk more about install in a moment. Pricing comes in at about $1,400, which for a full width front bumper with LED fog lights included, that's a really good value for your money. It's going to be a lot less expensive than some of the other options out there, and it's a very good quality item with a lot of flexibility and capability, plus an easy installation. Speaking of which, installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. This is a pretty straightforward process, since this is designed to be a bolt-on replacement for your stock bumper, so you don't need to modify anything on the truck itself in order to get this fitted. However, as I always do with bumpers, I would recommend having at least another set of hands with you, because this is heavy, and fitting a bumper can be really cumbersome and possibly even dangerous by yourself, no matter how strong you are. And again, for those fog lights, you get that wiring harness that is pretty much ready to go, so running all that is probably going to take you more time than actually getting the bumper itself into place. But anyway you slice it, this is certainly a project that you can undertake at home. And to show you that install process now, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need various ratchets and impacts, an extension, a magnet, a clip removal tool, some angle cutters, 16 and 18 millimeter wrenches, a T15 Torx bit, a 4 millimeter Allen bit, 7 shallow and deep 10, 13, 15, and 18 millimeter sockets, and also not shown here is an extra set of hands or a floor jack. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a bumper on our Silverado, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we've done is we've got our hood open. Now we need to remove our upper radiator cover as well as our grill, but in order to do that we need to remove our hood latch release handle. That's held in by these two T15 Torx screws, so we've got our T15 Torx bit and we'll pop those off and remove our handle. Take that out. We can set this aside. Now we can remove all of our push clips holding our shroud in place with our clip removal tool. Now that we have our clips out, we'll pull our shroud up and out of the way. Next, we'll need to remove the lower trim in front of our headlights, and in order to do that, we need to come to our inner fender liner and remove the 2 T15 torque screws right here on the inside and pop our fender flare out so we can access the 7mm screw behind this, and then we'll pop this out. Now we'll take our T15 torque bit and remove these. Once we have those out, grab onto our flare, just pop the front section out. Now we can access this 7mm screw, so we've got a 7mm socket. We'll pull that off and then we'll be able to remove our trim. Now to get our trim off, we're going to pull it out from the side and release our clips up here. Then we'll pull it around from the front and release the clips around here and the bottom. Then once you have this side off, you can do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can remove these 6 10mm screws holding our grill in place. So we've got 2 down bottom and then we've got 4 up top. So we'll remove these 2 first, go up top, remove the upper 4, and then we can pull our grill off. So once you've got this one off, you can do the same thing for the other side, then we'll go up top. Now we'll remove our 4 upper screws. Now we can remove our grill, so we're going to grab it from the bottom, gently pull out, release the tabs, then you'll need to pull up, release your grill, set it aside. Next we're going to need to remove the top mounting bolts for our bumper. They're the ones facing up towards you. They're 18mm. There's going to be one on this side and then one over here. They're kind of just tucked down in here. So we're going to grab our 18mm swivel socket extension and pull those off. And once you've got your first one off, you can do the same thing for the other side. So our next step is going to be to remove our bumper itself. Now this bumper is held in by 4 18mm bolts up top and then 2 15mm bolts on the outer edges of our brackets behind the bumper. So we're going to get these 4 18mm first. You will need an extension for this bottom one, and a helpful tool would be a magnet to grab it out of there. And then we'll go down bottom and get our bottom bolts, and then we can pull our bumper off. So we'll get our lower bolt first. We've got our 18mm swivel socket extension. It's going to be straight down in this recess. And we can loosen up our upper one. We're going to use our magnet to retrieve that lower bolt. And once you have these 2 out, you can do the same thing for the other 2. So now we can use our 15mm socket to remove this last bolt. And you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now that we have all of our bolts out, we can pull our bumper out and set it aside. You want to make sure to have 2 hands on this. It is a little heavy. You can scoot it out. And then we'll set this aside. All right, so now that we have our bumper off, we're going to need to remove our lower outer supports completely. That is held in by 2 more 15mm bolts right underneath here. So again, we've got our 15mm socket on our impact. We'll get under there and pop those off. Next, you can do the same thing for your other support. Next, we're going to remove our center support bracket section. Now, we do not have the active shutter in the middle. If you do, you will need to unplug that so you can remove it. So this is held on each side by 4 15mm bolts. So we'll use our 15mm socket to get those off. And we'll do the same thing for the other side, and then we'll remove this bracket. Now we can remove our entire center bracket assembly. Now we're going to remove our factory tow hooks. We've got our 18mm socket and 18mm wrench. We'll support our hook, remove our bolts, remove our hook. Once you have this side out, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we can install our new bumper mounting brackets onto our main frame horn here. We're going to reuse those factory 15mm bolts. These are labeled for each side. You have a P for passenger and a D for driver. You want the flat portion to go up. So we'll get this in place and reinstall our factory 15mm bolts. Once you have this side loosely in place, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now that we've got both of our brackets loosely in place, we're going to come back and tighten them down with our 15mm socket. You want to keep these nice and centered. Then you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now we have the bumper up on the table, and there's a couple things we need to do before we can put it on our vehicle to get it ready. The first of which is going to be to remove these factory mesh screens so we can install our provided fog lights. So what we're going to do is grab a 4mm Allen socket on our ratchet and a 10mm socket on a ratchet and get all 4 of the bolts off and remove those screens for each side. Now once we have our bolts out, we can remove our screen. Then you can do the same thing for the other side. Now since our vehicle does not have front parking sensors, we're going to install the provided sensor hole plugs. If you do have parking sensors, you will need to transfer that harness and those sensors over from your factory bumper. So we're going to come in from the front of the bumper and just pop these in place. Next, we can install our front license plate bracket. Now there's a couple ways you could do this. These square holes will accept the threaded inserts for your tag directly if you want more of the flush tapered mount to match your bumper, or you can install the provided tag bracket, which also has these square holes that match up like our ones on the bumper. We're going to install our bracket. Again, the choice is up to you whether you want more flush mount or more basically straight out forward. So if you do want to mount that, we're going to grab our 4mm combo bolts. We'll get our first combo bolt through our hole. We'll get our 10mm nut on the back side of that. Hold that in place. Got another one on. Then we can come back and tighten these down. Once again, we'll use our 10mm socket, 4mm Allen socket. And once you have those tight, you can add in your threaded insert. Just pop into place like so. All right, so now it's time to assemble and install our fog lights. Your fog lights come with this U-style bracket. These 2 side holes are going to slide into the fog lights themselves. You'll see an opening on each side with a threaded backing that we're going to install our provided Allen head bolts into. But first, we're going to take our main mounting bolt and get that through our upright section. It has little retainers that are going to lock that bolt into place. So what we'll do is slide this in and install our provided Allen head screws. Now you just want to get these loosely in place for now. Once you get a couple threads started. And once you have these loosely in place, we're going to come in with our provided Allen wrench and snug these bolts down. Now they get a little stiff, but they will go all the way in. Do the same thing for this one. Now you want these snug, but you don't want to over tighten them in case you need to adjust how your fog lights are sitting. Now that we have these in place, we're going to go over to our bumper and set our mounting bolt in place. Now on your mounting area, you have 3 of these slots to select where you want your fog light to sit. We're going to put ours right in the middle. We're going to get this bolt in, then we're going to install our provided lock washer and nut. And before we tighten this down, we'll slide it all the way forward. Again, you can set this wherever you'd like. You do have a bit of range if you want it more recessed or out in the open. And we're going to take our 13 mil ratchet wrench, tighten this nut down. Now we can reinstall our mesh backing. We'll set this right back into place. And make sure the wire for your fog light is going through one of these openings so it doesn't get pinched. Then we can reinstall our 4 combo bolts and 10mm flange nuts to mount these back in place. So we'll get our first one back in place. And once you have your first one in, you can repeat the same process for your other 3 bolts and do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now it's time to install our new bumper onto our mounting brackets. I've got an extra set of hands because this is kind of heavy. We'll get this in place, and then on each side we'll install our provided 3 bolts, lock washers and flat washers, and on the back side flat washers and nuts. Now we can come underneath our bumper and tighten down our 3 mounting bolts. Now I do have a floor jack helping hold this in position. You can use that to make any adjustments you want to make so you center your bumper properly. We've got our 16 mil socket on our impact and a 16 mil wrench. And we'll tighten these down. Once you have your first side tight, you can do the same thing for the other side. So now we can reinstall our tow hooks. Now you will need to flip these upside down from how they originally face. So normally they are facing up. You want to turn them over so they're facing down. We'll slide these back into place. And we can reinstall our factory 18mm bolts. Get our first one in. Our second one. Get our 18mm nut reinstalled. We'll get our 18mm wrench and socket and tighten these back down. And you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so before we reinstall our grill and everything, we're gonna get our wiring out of the way because it's gonna be much easier to route everything, get everything hooked up before we reinstall that. The first thing we're gonna need to do is get our switch through our firewall into our cab so we can access that and turn our fog lights on and off as we wish. Now there's a couple ways you could go about this. The easiest way is gonna be to remove or push in this grommet for this harness that goes through into our cab. Now there are 4 tabs on it. You want to just kind of push them in and you can push that grommet straight through. and then we'll send our switch through into our cab, and that mounts with an adhesive backing, so you can stick that really wherever you'd like. You get plenty of room on your harness to get this wherever you want it. So we'll get our switch through, and then we'll go on to the rest of our wiring, and we'll come back and mount that up at the end. So we get our switch to our grommet, and we have our tabs already pushed in. Ours are a little worn out. We're gonna get enough space to get our switch through the firewall. Got our grommet and retainer pushed back. Feed that switch through. You want to feed a good amount of it through first. And you can pull your grommet cover back out. All right, so now we've got the rest of our harness over to the passenger side so we can access our battery. What we're going to do first is remove the fuse from the harness itself. That's going to keep the circuit dead until we have everything hooked up and ready to go. So we're going to pull the cover off of that. Pull this fuse out. These are a little stiff sometimes. We'll set that right up here for now. And once we have that off, we can remove the cover off the positive side of our battery. So it's just got 2 tabs. So we'll pop that off, set it aside. So now we're going to hook our positive terminal up first. We're going to go to this stud right here. So we've got our 13 mil socket. We'll remove this nut. Get our positive connector on. Reinstall our nut. We'll tighten that right back down. Then we can install our negative terminal. Now for that, we're going to go to our remote ground stud. It's a much easier stud to get to. You don't have to mess with the negative terminal. So again, our 13 mil socket. We'll pop this nut off. Get our terminal on. That nut right back on. Tighten that right back down. So now we're going to drop our connectors for our fog lights down to our bumper area. Now the easiest way to do this is going to be to come next to your factory air tube. There is a nice little opening right next to it. You drop that down. You want to make sure your connectors don't get hung up anywhere. Straighten them out a little bit. Then we'll go underneath and pull these connectors down to an open area where we can plug them in. Now you can reach both of your connectors from this area right here under our fascia. Pull those out. We're going to grab our connector on our fog light. We'll plug that in. And we'll send the other one to the other side and do the same thing. So now that we have everything hooked up, we're going to reinstall our fuse. You want to cover that back up. We'll reinstall our cover for our battery. If you want a little bit better fitment, you can notch a little section out for the wire coming through. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to do that. Get this set back into place. Then we'll come in with a few wire ties and secure the rest of our harness up and out of the way. Now we need to secure this part of the harness up and out of the way so it's not resting on our engine. You can run it right along this factory harness, and we can use our provided zip ties. So we'll get our first one in, get it secure. I'm gonna pull the tension a little bit out of it, but not super tight. And once you have your first zip tie set, you can grab some angle cutters, trim off your excess. Then you want to install a few more along the harness to keep this up and out of the way. So now we're in the cab and we're going to mount our switch. Now it's going to come through your firewall essentially right between your throttle and brake pedal. So we're going to take the switch, remove the adhesive cover. Again, you can mount this wherever you'd like to. We're just going to make it easy. Mount it right next to our hood release, just like so. The main thing is you just want to make sure your wiring is not impeding on the function of your throttle or brake pedal. Now we can reinstall our grille. So we're going to set this back in place. Going to have to tuck it behind the bumper a little bit and line everything up. Give that a good push. Lock these tabs back in. Then we're going to reinstall the 6 10mm screws, the 2 at the bottom and the 4 up top. Now while we're up here, we'll reinstall our upper shroud. This line back up, put that back into place, and we can reinstall all of our push clips. Now we'll reinstall our hood release handle. We'll slide this back on. Get our two T15 torque screws back into place. And we'll tighten those back down. Now we can reinstall our headlight fascias. Now these do have a little bit of a weather stripping on the bottom. So what you want to do is kind of get that in first, push down. So this will slide in under your bracket. And you just push this back into place. Then we'll reinstall our 7mm screw. We'll get this back in. We can push our flare back into place. Next we'll reinstall our two T15 torque screws in our fender liner. And you can repeat the same process on the other side. Now one thing to note is when doing this at home, you can trim your fender liner to match the taper of your bumper so it's not hanging out. For demonstration purposes, we're not going to cut ours, but a good pair of scissors or a razor knife will definitely cut through this pretty easily. So you can trim that to your liking, and you also have a bracket behind her. You can pretty much cut it flush to that if you choose. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Barricade Extreme HD front bumper with LED fog lights for your 20 to 23 Silverado 2500 and 3500 HD. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.